His whole government is premised on the fact that you never have to have a political settlement with the Palestinians. That's what we're backing. We're backing an impossibility. We're backing a profound injustice. Well, that's what we're backing right now.
I want to talk to you about the United States backing Israel. And as a springboard for that conversation, I want to play a tape for you. I'm not even going to tell you who's in it, but you'll know both of these people immediately.
You make the observation in your book, and you say that you have said it many times when you were president of the United States, that no president is ever going to desert Israel, right?
Correct. I put it more bluntly. I said, as I told congressional leaders during the 1973 Yom Kippur War, no American president will let Israel go down the tube.
All right.
Democrat or Republican, it's not an issue.
That is stated fairly categorically, and yet in your book you make it clear at the same time that Israel really is not of any enormous strategic value to the United States anymore.
That's correct.
So why then would the United States continue to burden itself with huge loans, in some cases outright grants, to the Israelis, jeopardize possibly young American fighting men, when there is no strategic value involved, or little strategic
Because the
value?
United States is concerned by more than strategic values. That's maybe a weakness, but it's the way we are. And there are moral issues involved here. We don't have an alliance with Israel, as you know. They're not an ally of the United States in the technical sense. But we have a bond to Israel that's much stronger. It's a moral commitment. A moral commitment because of what happened during the Holocaust, and a moral commitment because it is a democracy, the only democracy in that area.
I saw you smiling. I'm sure that
Just brings back memories.
Yes. Was he right then? Is he still right? Are his statements still resonant today?
You know, during his presidency, this was immediately after the Six-Day War, which was 1967. And what happened in the immediate aftermath, and it's very important for people to understand, Israel, of course, occupied the West Bank and the Sinai and Gaza in the Six-Day War. It occupied the Palestinian lands. And then it had to decide what to do about all of this. And in 1970, Israel started to implement pieces of what was called the Alone Plan, named after one of the generals and leading politicians of the day. And the Alone Plan was put facts on the ground in the form of Israeli settlements in Palestinian territories in strategic places, so that basically Israel would never relinquish the occupied territories. And what happened starting around 1970 onward is that Israel has established so many settlements that there are now more than 400,000 Israelis on the West Bank and more than 200,000 in East Jerusalem. This is a lot. And these are, many cases, zealots. They are fervent. Anyway, they like their homes and their communities, even though they're in the middle of Palestinian territory. And many of them are true believers in what's called Greater Israel, or Eretz Yisrael, of the greater land of Israel, meaning a biblical interpretation that actually goes back in the Old Testament to the book of Joshua, that God gave the Jewish people, according to this religious view, all of the lands that are west of the Jordan River and reaching into Syria and so forth. And with this view, the idea is never compromise with the Palestinians. And unfortunately, this became the real policy of Israel. And here we were backing Israel, which makes sense, but not backing a political settlement. And Israel made facts on the ground, which made a political settlement extraordinarily difficult.
Is Nixon saying to Joe Biden, you have to back Israel? Not saying it directly, but you understand what I mean by that.
Yeah.
You have to back Israel no matter what, even if they commit war crimes, even if they commit genocide.
Well, I think the question for us is, what do we mean by Israel? We have the state of Israel and we have occupied territories that are Palestinian territories. And it has been the world opinion, and it is formally US policy, even reiterated by Biden, that there should be a Palestinian state on the Palestinian territories. But it doesn't happen. This has been the view for decades, but it doesn't happen. Why? Because the Israeli government has no intention of it happening, even as we repeat over and over again that that is our policy. Joe Biden said it himself just a few days ago, that the two-state solution is US policy. And that is in innumerable resolutions of the UN Security Council and the UN General Assembly. It is the overwhelming view of the world. It is absolutely opposed by Netanyahu. Let's be clear. He's the obstacle to a political settlement. He and what he represents politically, which is not the dominant part of Israel, but is the dominant part of the coalition that governs Israel right now. But in any event, it puts the whole world at danger, and it puts the United States in an absolutely untenable situation. Because if we back Netanyahu's policy, what are we backing? We're backing massive war crimes in Gaza with no prospect of a real settlement. That's what we're backing. So what are we doing? We're faking it right now because they want to get to the election and win re-election. They don't want the truth, like on so many issues of American politics. Biden doesn't explain anything. He doesn't tell the truth, but most US presidents don't, by the way. But it happens that our present president also isn't explaining the issues. And the issues are that the current government of Israel is an absolute obstacle to peace. This is absolutely clear. And that the United States is put in an intolerable position as an accomplice to war crimes.